Pangolina. I am a pangolin, and I was born in a big forest, in a warm, cozy burrow. My mother named me Pangolina. Every night, she went out to get food, always returning so I could drink her rich, warm, delicious milk. On one special day, my mother took me with her when she went out. I clung to her tail as she walked slowly through the forest. When she came to a mound of earth, she got very excited. "Look, Pangolina, it's a termite nest," she said. Then, suddenly, out of her mouth shot a long, thin thing that looked like a giant worm. It pushed its way into a hole in the nest, and when she pulled it back out, I realized it was her tongue, and many termites were stuck onto it, waving their legs. She pulled her tongue and swallowed the termites. Wow! Ah, so that must be what makes her milk so delicious, I thought. I watched as she enjoyed a wonderful meal, shooting her tongue out again and catching many termites. It must be very sticky, I thought to myself. So I went close to find out, and I found out it really was very sticky, and for a moment my little nose stuck to it, and I thought she might swallow me, thinking I was just another termite. But of course, I was too big. Those were wonderful days. I was happy to meet other animals in the forest. There was a civet, so beautiful, with the dark circles around her eyes and a handsome spotted body. I was a bit scared when Wild Pig and her piglets came by, grunting and rooting in the leaves, but they were only looking for fallen fruits. Once, I was startled when a large creature, a bit like a fox with wings, flew low over us. My mother told me not to worry because it was only a fruit bat. Almost every night, bats flew past us with his pals, and we became good friends. One day, we saw a very strange animal. It walked upright on two legs, and it did not have scales or fur or feathers. I was frightened. "It's okay," said wise Civet. "It is a girl, the young child of a dangerous creature called human." The girl squatted down to look at us. She seemed excited and her eyes were kind. I wasn't frightened anymore. Then a loud voice called out. It sounded like "I," and the girl jumped up and started to run towards the voice. She called out, "Coming, Mom." I grew quickly. My scales got harder. I learned how to open a termite mound with my claws that had become strong and hard. And one day, my mother told me that I was grown up now and that eventually I would have a little baby of my own. That was how it worked, she said. She would be sad to see me go, but that was the way of us pangolins, the way we had lived for thousands of years. I was lonely, but I still had Civet and Bat and the pigs and a lot of other animals who were my friends. And sometimes I saw the girl, who I had learned was called I, walking in the forest. Gradually, I got used to being away from my mother, and life was good until one terrible day that I shall never, never forget. I was sound asleep when I was awakened by a fierce barking and the paws of a strange animal digging in the entrance of my burrow. Voices I did not recognize shouted something, and all at once I was pulled out into the daylight with a strong stick. A man, standing so tall on two legs, pushed me into a cloth bag. I lay there, terrified and trembling, as I was carried through the forest. Two of my friends, Civet and Bat, had also been caught. "This is human," said Civet, who was older and wiser than me. "He does not mean to be cruel. He thinks we are just things that have no feelings, that we do not know fear or pain He just needs to make money so he can feed his children. In the evening, I was pulled out of a cage. This is a good bargain, said the man who had caught me. Yes, said another voice. I will buy it. I was too frightened to move or even cry. I just curled up into a tight little ball, as my mother had taught me to do when danger was nearby. Now, I would never have my own little baby to love. I was picked up and placed in a sack. But then, I heard a voice I knew. The voice of the girl No, no, she was shouting. Please don't kill her. I learned all about pangolins in school. They are endangered. Look at her. Look how frightened she is, Mom. And she began to cry. Suppose it was me being sold to someone to eat? Someone who would pull off my fingernails and use me for no good medicine? Please help me save the little pangolin. Quite suddenly, I was dropped to the ground. I closed my eyes and curled up as tightly as I could. Over there, someone shouted. I am a police officer. I heard another voice say, it is against the law to hunt and sell pangolins. The noises faded and I heard small footsteps coming towards me. You are safe now, whispered I. I opened my eyes and saw her looking at me, surrounded by many kind faces. She looked at the police officer who smiled at us. You must take the pangolin to a sanctuary, she told I's mother. I picked me up and gently said, let's take you to your new home. Well, that was a long time ago. I and her mother took me to a sanctuary where I was safe. And I learned that once humans understand that we animals can know happiness and sadness, fear and despair, and that we feel pain, then they become kind and care for us and protect us. I will finish my story by saying that eventually I got my baby, after all, a little boy who grew up and learned to feed on termites and make friends with the animals in the sanctuary. People came to learn about us so they could tell more and more children about the animals of China and how we have feelings, just like them. What a happy way to end my story. The end.